two things. Basically, today we are planning to cover alerts and cases as well. Cases, because there are a lot of cases which are created by BSM integration. Those are auto-generated cases. Basically, what happens? Let's say due to time constraint or due to work commitments or due to time zones, able to respond to alerts. We see that alerts are there, but NOC and SOC teams keep on sending in saying that we are receiving these alerts, but they do not receive response. That is time when they auto kick a case generation, and that is automatically created through BSM integration. A case is in our queue, and those are incidents. Those are the cases where we have to act immediately. We cannot put it in our queue and sit back, because let me take an example, very small example, a disk space. Let's say there is a disk space case in our queue, and we think that, okay, it's just a disk space, so I can handle it later. And we are humans. There is a tendency of human error, and there is a possibility that for, let's say, next couple of hours or so, we might forget about that disk space. The reason why disk space issue was caused might reach to crashing of server as well. There is a very important reason why, rather than having PPM home directory for attachment logs and reports, we have not opted for this reason. But we have a dedicated location, that is NetApps, because we want to make sure that our server do not reach to any threshold condition. So the only thing which consumes space is, and which increases, is reports, attachments, and logs. So we already have a dedicated NetApps for that. So there is something definitely unwanted which has happened on our server, which is causing additional logs or additional space consumption. And that needs immediate attention. If you forget about that, if you don't handle these alerts, there are chances server might crash. You won't even have space enough to log into server, because when you log into server, memory and space is allocated, right? We all understand that. So there is a possibility that the case is sitting in your queue, you didn't give attention, and nobody received the detail about that case, because obviously the case is in your queue, and you are working on it. And the auto alerts will be triggered for that. But you didn't work on it. So please pay attention on cases which are there in your queue. Regarding second one is alerts. The normal alert email which we receive from SOC and NOC. Earlier we used to have direct alerts in our queue, but we knew that that's an overhead for us, and everybody understands that's an overhead, because we are working on cases, we are working on no matter 911, we are working on low priority cases, we are working. So if parallelly there are a lot of alerts which are triggering and we have to handle those alerts, it becomes more time consuming for us, because these are steps, there are processes to be followed, and even though task is small, but every step and every process is important. So it's time consuming. So what we did was, a few years back, a decision was taken that we'll be helping NOC team and SOC team to handle those alerts. And how that would be done? Alerts, we would create runbooks for them. So let's say when I say please clear this space, so there is a runbook which says that what needs to be cleared, what are important folders, and if these folders are, if there is something else, then just go ahead and clean it, where they have to perform this cleanup activity. Similarly for everything, Oracle error, services not starting, Java homepage. So there are a lot of things based on which they have their runbook. The moment they receive alert, they do their part first before reaching out to us. They try to handle it through runbook. If they feel that they are not able to, that is the time when they reach out to us, because they have already done their part. They do not understand PPM. They do not know what PPM is. It's you and me who understand that, okay, if there is a upgrade bundle, we can get rid of it in the PPM home location, because currently no upgrade is going on and it's no more required. So we understand that. But for NOC and SOC team, they do not understand that that's an unwanted folder. So they will not touch those. So there are certain things which they can't handle, and they see that their runbook didn't help much. So that is when they send forward email to us saying that escalated, please handle. because they've done their part. Next thing is for everyone. I have seen that that's a very bad convention, that when you apply a hotfix or you apply any patch or anything for that matter, you leave the bundle in PPM home location. Understand that once job is finished, the jar file is no more of any use. But if you still feel that there are logs, for example, upgrade folder, okay? I understand you guys are not part of upgrade, but I'm just giving an example. For example, upgrade folder. Upgrade is already done. Upgrade folder should be moved to NetApps. I would not recommend deleting upgrade folder because there are logs. There are a lot of validation, pre-validation reports. There are important things in that. We have certain scripts in that. So I would recommend that move upgrade folder to customers NetApps location. And any unwanted folder, if you feel that you have a doubt that should I delete it or not, you are you are not sure. You think that it's a jar file, it's no more into use. Any patch file, any patch jar file, QCIM files, hotfixes, SP1s or something, service packs. So if you are in doubt, move it to NetApps so that if it's required later, we can grab it from there. But please do not garbage PPM home folder because it's just for PPM file system, nothing else. I have been seeing people creating their own folders in customer service server instance. It's not our personal servers. I have even seen customers creating folders. If you notice SAP Miler, there is folder naming Shilpi, AC. Please inform customers that these are not their personal folders. These are not their personal, these are customer servers. And they are not authorized to use these naming conventions. They are not authorized to create these folders inside PPM or in servers until and unless they are using it for coding purpose. However, even for coding, it's a bad convention. I can't create a web service code under Preeti folder. Bad convention. So even if they say that, they're using this as a convention, inform them that that's a bad convention. Please use the standards. Any questions so far? Okay, I'll take that as a no. But before proceeding further, I would request each one of you to ask questions, even if it's a dumb question, any question which you have in mind.
Hi, Preeti. This is Rohit here.
Yes, Rohit.
Yes, I have one small doubt that whenever we get this notification of alerts, and in the below mail, whenever we come across that there is a site to scope link and as well as runbook followed there. So is it that we first need to directly go if in case we are not able to find it where exactly the issue would be? Usually we find it as a topic itself that your service is not installed or it's not running or database connectivity issue or something else. So is it that every time we need to go to this SharePoint runbook and then check the resolution point there? Once we'll get the hint from there.
Thank you so much, Rohit, for the question. It's a good question, and I'll cover this. But let me first complete. Guys, this is for everyone. If you have any question, please speak up. Don't think that it might be a dumb question or you might look fool in front of everybody. Trust me, everybody was in same shoes once in a lifetime. Even today, I ask dumb questions. And it's absolutely fine because no question is dumb question. Every question is important. It might appear to you as dumb, but it might help others as well. So please ask questions. Any question, any stupid, small, important, unimportant, any question. This is just a request. But coming to Rohit's question, just a sec. Basically, I'm in hold because one production node is down and need to check log for that. But anyways, Rohit, coming to your question, I can take that parallelly. I'll try to. Coming to your question, no. See, the moment we receive an alert, the first step is, the first thing which I do, I don't know what's the best convention, But for me, the first thing is restore the issue in server. There can be two things. One is if there is a problem with PPM application in a whole, and second is there is problem with site scope monitoring. Okay, so if there is a problem with PPM, act on it immediately. I'll tell you how to handle that. But if there is not a problem with PPM, then I'm fine. Then I have time and I can see what's going on. So how to handle this? So basically, the moment you see an alert email, let's say it's this space, forget about the details which is there in email. First, go to server. Let's say if it says server is not running, your server stopped. So go to server, check services. Is it running? Is it started? Okay, it started. So what's the next thing which you have to do? Log into the home page. Check that you can log in with your credential. You can, which means that there is no problem with application. The problem is with site scope monitoring. And this is when usually what I do is I do not even read the logs what's going on. I just directly go to site scope because I know that we have Lawn, Reading, Austin, Sydney data centers. We have their dedicated site scopes. So I'll directly go to site scope. I'll check for that particular server and check if the monitor is red. And definitely when NOC team reaches out to us, they reaches out to us for a reason, and definitely monitors are red. So the moment I see monitor is red, then there is something, this is something which I start investigation on, why it is red. Even though if our server is up and running, everything is absolutely correct, why it's red. There's something which is wrong, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there might be couple of reasons why it was red. First is someone recently changed site scope monitors. Okay, which is wrong. We understand that, but someone changed it. So, and second reason is that at times, see, when we say PPM AST 12D-01, this is aliasing because server identification number, unlike any other thing, they have their IDs. Similarly, server has an ID. They have an IP. So IP address is their identification number. But in order to make our life easy, basically we name servers like PPM AST, PPM LON. So those are aliasing. But actually identification is IP. So at times what happens, the aliasing leaves the IP. So in site scope, the site scope monitors at times fails because it's not able to identify PPM AST, let's say 10P. It might not be able to. So what you can do is you can, at that time, you can go and just put in the IP there. In the site scope, have you noticed?
Can you, Preeti, I would request, can you please share the screen and show us one example?
Yes, sure.
That would be great to learn actually.
Sure. Let me share my screen. Let me know once you can see my screen. Okay, I can see you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so, okay, with site scope, see, I missed this screen. Now it will never load for me. So if this problem occurs, hit on site scope again. Here you'll see, can you see my pointing device? If I move it?
Yes.
Okay. So at the bottom or at the top, you might see that, Java is out of date. Okay, some kind of message, and then your site scope doesn't run. Or you might receive a message saying that, update now, update later. So if you receive update now, update later, then please use the option update later. But if it says Java is out of date message, either in below toolbar or at the top task toolbar, just right click on it and select run this time. I do not want any one of you to update your Java to match site scope. because basically we need our Java in order for our workbench to work. So if your workbench is working with your current Java, so I don't want you to mess up with your machine, because workbench opening is important. We do investigations, a lot of investigations in workbench. So for site scope, always use a temporary solution. I have been using this for years, and it has worked fine for me. Okay, so okay, so let's say we take this one. Okay. Now, Ken, in the meantime, while it's loading, do you see at the right hand to top corner dashboard properties, alerts, reports?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, dashboard, see, this is green. Can you see the status? It's green. Now, let's say when NOC reaches out to you, why they do reach out to you? Because let's say PPM service, they say this is red. So basically, what happens is, at times you might have seen that in application, your PPM is running, it's up and running, you go to services, it's stuck in running state, I mean starting state, okay? Starting rather than started, it says starting, okay? But PPM has no impact on this. It's just that the service is stuck in starting, but the service is already started. You can log into your login page. Everything is working well. It's just the service is stuck. So what happens? This is still an issue. Why? Because site scope would fail, because site scope is basically capturing this keyword. Site scope captures this keyword from services.msc against HP PPM Kitana server name. Okay. If it is not able to match this, it will keep on triggering alerts. We cannot disable this alert because it's a valid alert. We cannot ignore it, because if we ask NOC to ignore it, then tomorrow if it goes down, then also they'll ignore it. Because when they say that, service is down because we are receiving alerts, they do not understand that is it started or is it starting. Are you connecting what I'm saying? Because this is between you and me. We understand that, the reason why NOC is saying that service is down because they are seeing alerts in site scope. Okay. So that's the reason, they see the alert is there in site scope. They do not check that what's going on. For them, PPM is down. So what they'll do based on runbook, they log into application, they'll restart service. The moment they restart service, it again gets stuck again in starting state and not started state. So again they say that it's not coming up because for them site scope is still red, because the keyword is not matching. It's still in starting state. So for them it's an issue. For us it's not in 911 because it doesn't impact our PPM application, but it's an issue. Okay, we have to fix it. And why do we get this issue? We'll come to that. Okay. So, Rohit, to answer your question, I believe I answered it correctly. If you're satisfied with the answer, first thing is go to PPM application, check for the issue, fix it. If it's 90% of the time there is problem with PPM, and even 90% there is a problem with PPM. Even the one which we discussed just now, that is also a problem with PPM, and I'll take that in detail later. So 90% of the time there is problem with PPM. 10% of the time the problem is with site scope. What happens is at times site scopes are restarted due to some maintenance activity. Site scope as an application, they are restarted as a maintenance activity, and some of our customer monitors get stuck. So due to which they are not able to read our servers, and then we know that there is a problem with site scope. When do we know this situation is there? Well, we see that environment is up and running for PPM, but all the alerts are red. So which means that site scope is stuck. Okay. Now, second reason I shared that aliasing leaves its domain. So what you have to do is, let's say, let's take any. So to go to properties, I'm in a properties tab. Okay, so basically, okay, let's go to property. Yes, this is the properties tab. So I don't know why this has changed.
Yeah, earlier it was having more tabs, means more
It was
section.
having more tabs and it had queries. So I think
Yes.
something has changed. So basically, we used to, we used to have tags and we used to have queries here, inbuilt queries. I'll get in touch with Sitescom team to find out if something changed. So we used to have our queries, our PPM schema queries for license, for service. So for service, we used to check PPM server instance table. For licensing, KNT, a product table. For expiration date, everything it was based on PPM, our query which we run. For KNT notifications, if notification is not running, so PPM services table. So all the queries were here. So I'll check with them and get back to you on this one. But the intent of saying this is that if the alerts are there, you have to act on those alerts. Now let's take the alerts one by one. That what can be kind of alert. So let's start with this one. Okay. So started and starting. Why? Okay, have you seen this error? First thing. Has anyone seen this error?
Yeah, Preeti, I've seen it in fact 1 or 2 times when we are ourselves starting the server.
Okay. Um, so do you have any idea why this occurs? Anything you would like to share?
Mm, Generally, I mean, when it occurs, the services and everything gets started up, but why it gets stuck at starting, I have no idea.
Okay. Guys, anyone has anything to contribute in the meantime while I handle this server? Come on, we are PPM experts. I'm sure you have lots to contribute. So don't you want to share it with the team? Anyone? Okay, forget it. Okay, so basically the reason why we get this alert is, let me show you. I actually killed it. Basically, did you notice that when I kill a process, I use end process tree?
Yes.
Never end process, or every time use end process tree. Okay, because apart from java.exe, we use our PPM. In order to start our PPM, what do we use? We use ksvc.exe
Yes.
services, right? We can
Yes.
start it using kstart.sh as well, but we use services. And how are services kickstarted? Using ksvc utility, right? So
Right.
there are two processes which are running. One is java.exe, one is ksvc. At times, what happens is you kill Java process, but ksvc is sitting there idle, which means that PPM is partially down, not completely. You'll not be able to access PPM, but there'll be problems starting PPM as well, because dual process with same domain might cause problem. So that's a root cause basically. KSVC that gets stuck. So apart from Java process, if apart from searching Java, you also have to search for KSVC and kill both of them. So once you kill both the process and then you start server, it's like smooth cheesecake. Okay. Guys, questions?
You said it killed the ksvc.exe also, right?
Yes.
Then again we need to generate once install again services.
No, killing ksvc.exe from task manager is not deleting the service.
Okay.
When we
Sure.
kill Java process, see, when I kill Java process, see, KSVC is also created. So when I kill Java process, it's not that I'm deleting Java altogether. It's just that I'm stopping this process to work,
Work.
right? It's not deleting. Your case, it will not get deleted. Deleting is something else and it works through commands and everything else. So killing is just stopping the process to work. Okay. So this is something which I even have to share it with NOC team, that because nowadays we are frequently seeing that this problem is occurring. I believe that this problem is occurring because when one of us is trying to restart a server, then we probably just Java process and not process tree, and that's the reason KSVC stays there. Even from NOC and SOC team, when they're trying to restart server, they just kill Java process rather than Java process tree. And that's the reason KSVC is sitting idle, and that's causing problem for them. Okay. So this is one reason. Other reason,
Usually in our knowledge also, we used to kill every time java.exe only. We never killed the ksbc.exe through task
yeah, see,
manager.
basically it would automatically get killed. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, okay, forget about java.exe or ksvc.exe. The ideal process to stop ppm is kstop.sh. Everybody knows that, right?
Yeah.
And the ideal process to start ppm is kstart.sh. If we are using services.msc, then the ideal step is to stop service and the ideal step is to start service from services.msc. But why do we directly go and kill java.exe and ksvc.exe? The only reason is because we know that, it needs immediate attention. Because when we follow the correct process, which is we stop service, we go to services.msc, select for HP app, and then we stop service, it basically stops process one by one, then it will first stop service, then it will stop any activity which is going on, any roll-ups which is going on. So it will do step by step. Okay. It will take time to stop application. So what we are doing is, rather than giving ppm ample time to stop the application by itself through a process, we directly go and kill Java process. Boom, that's done. Okay. But otherwise, if we follow the process, ppm process, it would be more time consuming because you'll have to just click on stop and you'll have to babysit the logs and wait for server to stop, and it will take some time. It's not immediate thing. But java.exe, it's a boom thing. You kill it and it's done. But you always kill process tree so that KSVC also stops. Okay. So the moment we kill java.exe, as a process tree, it works well. But at times you might see that even if you kill java.exe as a KSVC still might exist because it was stuck due to last session. Okay. So you might have to separately kill ksvc.exe. But this is a very rare phenomena. This only occurs when you see that server is stuck in starting phase. So you know why it's occurring. KSVC is stuck. Okay, so you have to refresh service. So rather than refreshing service, just go ahead and task manager, kill both the service and restart ppm. That's it. Any questions so far?
Preeti, when the KSVC is still running and we are again starting a server, shouldn't it kind of put a lock on the process and refuse the server starting totally?
No, Vishal. Good question. Ideally and logically, no, because basically ppm needs Java to start. KSVC is just a process. It gets stuck there. Okay. So basically, when you restart ppm, your Java is kick-started. Your ppm application starts, but the state KSVC is not refreshed. If you look into the different parameters of KSVC, it checks for sync, refresh. So basically, it's not refreshed, and that is the reason it itself doesn't show its correct state.
Okay.
Otherwise, it doesn't have any direct dependency on application. Okay. So Java.exe is successfully kickstarted. Okay, so that's that.
And because we are in Windows, that's why we are doing this. Otherwise, if we would have been in Linux OS, ppm installed in Linux, we used to do directly kstart.sh and kstart.
Yeah, and there's a limitation also. There's a limitation why we don't do KStart in Windows. That is because, and there is a setting also, but we haven't set that setting. So in our case, if we do case start from, we can, right? Because it's all the same thing.
Yes.
There is no difference. We can do case start from command prompt and we can start the server. And you can just disconnect the server. But in our cases, every login has a definite time. And if there is an idle time is reached, it disconnects itself. Due to obvious reason, because every server, if it's dev and test, it has 3 sessions, 3 available sessions. Just a sec. Sorry guys. Okay, so छोड़ दो उसे. See, basically we have limited sessions for dev and test, and for prod we have, I believe, for some customers we have 1 session, for some customers we have 2 sessions, and that is for domain user. But you have privilege to log in as 2 domain user, 1 administrator, and 1 admin. So basically 4 sessions for production, but for domain user there are ideally 2 sessions for production, and for dev and test I believe there are 3 sessions. So let's say if someone works on a server in dev instance and accidentally, rather than logging off, the best practice is always, guys, always log off. Okay. I know a lot of, I cannot pinpoint on anyone, but I know that, and I'm not talking about my team. I know even in NOC, there are people who have a tendency to directly close the session. The moment they close the session is idle, it's logged, and it will wait for its time to reach before it releases that session. And that's a bad practice. So always log off. So the reason why we do not use case start is because until that idle session time is reached, the server will be up and running. The moment that idle session time is reached, the session will be logged off and the service would stop. Okay. In case of Windows and Linux, there are no such session, lock session. So it works well. In our Windows also, if we want, we can disable that option and our case start can work well. But if we disable that option, then we have our own limitations. And for that reason, and since we have a provision as well as for Windows services, we use services. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, next is database connectivity. The only reason when there is a database connectivity issue is 2. Either database is down, or since by now you must be knowing that the second reason is there was any recent database maintenance which went through, which again changed the aliasing. And that is the reason I have been constantly saying that, never used IP or host name, never. Always you use DBS ID. Okay, because recently we knew the thing which I shared in my last global meeting, that we had a lot of issues, a lot of customers complaining because recently there was maintenance which happened and it changed their aliasing, and as a result of which, we had incidents, a lot of incidents. So the only 2 reasons can be if database is down, cannot reach database server. So check that was there any database. I have requested Hofi to make sure that in future, if there is any database maintenance activity, everyone in team should be notified. So that, the moment we receive a case, we know that, okay, database maintenance activity was there. So possibly aliasing was used for this server, and that's the reason the server is down. So we can create a connection when we receive such alerts. But at times when we are not notified, we don't know that, there was any maintenance which happened. It's very difficult to investigate. Definitely we can investigate and drill down, but it's more time consuming. Hofi, and going forward, every one of you is going to receive any communication on any kind of database maintenance. So 2 reasons can be database is down. If database is down, please get in touch with DBA. I'm sure that the moment database is down, be it dev, test, prod, there is incident mail which says that this is link session and this is incident. So check if PPM is part of that, because it happens for a lot of products. So check if PPM is part of those alerts. If yes, then join the link session. Because there should be at least 1 representative from each team. comfort and availability, because there is a lot of learning which you get to know in that session also. And definitely you're going to contribute. Okay. So even if you see that someone is already there, be part of the session. Here to the conversation, because DBA, infra, everybody is there and everybody is on their toes to restore the session. And they need everyone's help. They need our help for verification. They need our help if we can provide some input, for some understanding. Because when such issue occurs, we don't know what went wrong. Was share disconnected? Was storage disconnected? Was there a server issue? What went wrong? Nobody knows. So everybody tries to help each other with root cause, and even we as the PPM team can help them. So even if you see there is someone from our team, be part of the conversation. There's a link session which goes on, so be part of it. Second is homepage. This occurs when PPM is up and running, services is started, but there is problem with login page. And we have seen this, right? Which means that though PPM started, those services shows as a running state, started state, but it didn't start successfully. So you'll have to restart. At times, the best practice is when you start a server, please check the login page, enter your credentials, and log into dashboard and check if everything is working fine. That's it. You don't have to browse through the application. But at times, what happens when you launch the login local host, you see that problem is there, so you know what to do. At times, local host launches successfully, but when you enter your credentials, there is a problem. So you work accordingly. But don't think that just starting service and your part is done. Verification is also important. Who's going to do the verification? We don't have a separate dedicated verification team. This is something which is lacking in our team. We are PPM experts. We know how to do. We know what to do. But we are so overconfident that we do our part and it is done. We fail to do validation. We think that it should be NOC, SOC, or TSC, or CSM, or someone third person who should be sitting somewhere idle who should be doing the verification. No. Verification should be done at every level. If I'm doing something, it's my responsibility to do verification. Okay? Next is lbverify.jsp. At times this file it is deleted. Understand that this is load balancer file. It's a very important file. Because if there is a possibility, if you see a situation when you can log into login page in a server, but from outside, from remote, you cannot launch the login page, this is the culprit. Because LB Verify, either it's not correct, either it's corrupt, or it's not there, or the naming convention is not correct. Okay. Now there are two different lbverify.jsp. One is for normal customers and one is for SSO customers. So for SSO customers, we have a different lbverify.jsp, and for normal non-SSO customers, we have different lbverify.jsp. If you have any confusion, if you are facing any problem, if you think that there is, well, let's say Sony is facing this problem and they can see that they cannot log in from outside, and you don't know that from where do I get SSO LB verify. So check for another SSO customer and pull the file from there. Okay. So basically, for normal customers, that is non-SSO, this is the only file.
But usually we used to go to the SharePoint and copy the JSP, LB Verify JSP file from there to from global NetApp to the server, right? If we feel that the LB Verify JSP is not working. But as you said that it's SSO one is a separate one. So yes. How we will check? We can check only through to log into different servers?
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. There is difference in size. But if you have any confusion, then log into any SSO customer and copy it from there. Okay. One more additional information is there is one load balancer file for non-SSO customer, which is LB Verify, and there are two load balancer file for SSO customer. One is lbverify.jsp and the other one is SAS login.jsp. Have you noticed? Anyone has noticed this?
No.
Okay, SAS login.jsp is an add-on file which is there for SSO customers. So where does lbverify.jsp exist? It exists in, let me type it for you, C server app deploy ITG war And here we have a custom folder, servlet,
Yes.
right? Inside, this is a custom folder. This is basically for MSM integration. This is an add-on which is being provided for SaaS. Okay, so servlet MSM API, right? So this is the structure. So LB verify is here. LB verify.jsp is here.
For services, we used to keep it as underscore LB, right? For services node.
Yeah. Yes, because that is always off LB. So same thing as here. It's checking for keyword. Same thing a load balancer. It checks for this keyword. So if this keyword is altered, prefixed or postfixed, this means this is not on load balancer. And that is what we do for process. We either prefix or postfix it something. And as logon.js.
That's
so
why
this is a structure.
We used to have 8445 as a port. Localhost.
Yes. We have for SSO it's 8445. Okay. Why? Do you know the reason why? If you log into SSO customer, it runs with Apache, right?
Yes.
So for SSO customers, both works. Okay, but this is for Apache. With this URL, you check the Apache is reachable or not. So we cannot use the same port for our PPM application as well. So this is dedicated to Apache. Okay, so if you click this one, you'll see that it says ready. If you click on this page, you'll see that it gives status ready in the landing page because Apache is working well. And for PPM, we cannot use the same port, so we use 8445, which is for login. Okay, but anyway, that's a separate session. That's something with respect to SSO. We can take it later. So here the intent is to share this. Okay, out of memory. For out of memory, you need to identify that what is causing memory consumption. What is causing it? Is it PPM application or it's third-party application? If it's third-party application, then what is this third-party application? Does this third-party application has dependency on PPM? Or if it is PPM, so what can we do about it? If it's PPM, we cannot do much about it. We just have to restart server because out of memory means customers are receiving errors. If you go to task manager, you go to CPM task manager, you go to memory tab and you see that it's spiking high. Okay. So there is nothing much you can do, but you can just restart the server. Okay. Ping for dependencies is basically for a subnet, one customer, dev, test, two prod, one process node. It's under one subnet. Okay. And they all should be reachable to each other, though they do not communicate because they have their own domain users. But at times we make them communicate each other if we have to transfer files. Okay, so we have to ping for dependencies and PPM instance. Okay, this is basically PPM as a whole if it's working well. So similarly for everything, I think now until unless you start handling the alerts, you would not have more questions. So I would request that please. Going forward, let's follow a convention. The moment we see an alert, because now everybody would, and definitely we do not want everyone to work on same thing. So the moment you see alert and if you think you're going to work on it, first thing, acknowledge, checking. So the moment we receive that checking, which means that okay, someone is working, so others can ignore. Okay, and I would request each one of you that I'll not pick any of the alert cases going forward. Please proactively pick the cases and work on it because unless you do not do hands-on, you'll not understand what's going on. Okay, so for production, it's production team, but for dev and test, demand team can work. So this is the only limitation, but start working on this so that you understand. For this space, please note that apart from garbage files which I mentioned, like MLU jar, multi-language jar, because Language is deployed. Now this jar file doesn't have any use. Any jar file, any QCIM jar file, any unwanted folder, new unknown folder, okay, or backup, CPM backup. The moment you clear up this folder, a significant amount of space is released, because when we perform any activity in PPM, hotfix, patch application, upgrade, anything, then the entire application is backed up and it's saved here. So the whole space is consumed due to that. So clear this backup. Do not clear this deploy completely. There is one temp folder. Ignore this temp folder. Apart from this temp, you can clear everything. Okay. Same goes for log. This log is not our PPM application log. This log is basically deployment log. You can get rid of log except temp. And we'll take this, what is temp is basically for migration. We have our own SaaS migration workflow, and it has a reason. And we can take that in a different session. But in order to release this space, these are the things which you have to do. If you have any doubt that, should I delete or should I not delete, then please create a folder in its customer's own NetApps where attachment logs and reports reside. Create a folder and copy the contents there, so that if anyone needs the file later on, you can pull it from there. Because NetApps has extend on defined, so it's not going to run out of space. Any questions so far?
At times we requested for space size to infra also, right? If in case we feel that.
No, that was an old case. Basically, as I mentioned, that the extend on functionality was there. In between infra, for some customers, they didn't enable this extend on, and for that the intent, or the whole intent of having this NetApps is that we should never run out of space. The whole intent of having this NetApps is this. But for some customers, we noticed that they do not have this auto extend. So we had requested infra team to check on this, and now they claim that it's working well. Okay, so extend on is enabled for everything. Okay, if you see an exception, report it.
So out of, if I will club some of the things like notification, URL issue, LB verified issue, out of space, out of memory, most of the time we have to restart the services. Usually these resolve the issue most of the times.
Yeah, apart from this space, yes. And even for services, what's the reason. I mean, for any case, make a sensible decision that what should be done. If services, if it's production, so before doing anything good catch. In fact, Rohit, thank you for bringing this point, because yes, this is a good catch. If you see that server state is in starting state and server is up and running, but so before killing java.exe and ksvc.exe for production, please check if there is user load on that server, because application is not available. The problem is with monitoring. If it's PST customer, we can easily go, because we know that there won't be any user load. But please, for making any restart, make sure that there is no user load. I don't want users to be using the application and then they complain about outage.
But if it is a single node, it will automatically route it to the another node, right? If we are killing the Java and as well as ksvc.exe.
No, it's not that easy, Rohit. Basically, what happens is, just a sec. No, it's not that simple. Basically, what happens, let's say if you're working in PPM, okay, you have made some changes in some request type and whatsoever, and I kill the service. Okay. So what will happen? Everything would be lost. The moment I click on F5, my changes would be lost, but I will be redirected to node 1.
Right.
But my work will be lost, right?
Right.
because my work was holding second session. So the session doesn't get transferred. You get redirected to existing session.
Yes.
Okay. So for production, guys, before doing that, please note that you check the load, user load. If you see that user load is there, then inform NOC that there is a user load. We'll be doing this later. So either make a note that you'll be doing this later or transfer it to required times and time zone resource. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions? Any question?
Most of the time, we used to have a doubt of cleaning the disk because we were thinking that which file needs to be deleted, which should be moved. So in that confusion, sometimes we skip the this alert
Okay.
because
But
we
I
were
believe
not
now
thinking.
it's clear.
And, yeah, now it's clear.
No,
Okay.
Preeti. Yeah, the only thing was if it's others, time zone person can handle it because user nodes or people are already using it. I mean, can it wait till then? Is it something where we have to immediately, start to restart the services with the steps, you shared, or, that's the confusion I'm having since the site people will be sending the alerts.
Come again. I totally missed you. I'm actually doing something else. Tell me. I'm all
You
yours.
said, yeah. You said that, I suppose if it is something where user nodes are already present in that particular server, and
User
then we
load
just
is present.
yeah,
Yes.
load are there, and then we can't just directly go and restart it.
Right.
So if at all we can wait until the other time zone person, if at all it can be, given to some
Yes,
other
it
time.
can.
Can
See,
we wait?
basically,
Can we wait? Yeah.
yeah, it can. See, because there is no impact on application, it's just alert. So all you have to do is you have to notify. See, now what is the steps? What would be the series of steps? So the moment you do so, NOC will reach out to you saying that we still see the alert. So you have to drop an email saying that I can see user load on servers, and since it's production, so and there is no impact of this problem with application. So please ignore these alerts for now. Make
Oh.
sure that you do not disable the alert because there is a possibility that server might altogether go down, right? And if
Okay.
it goes down, so there is a problem. So
Okay.
please note that you just have to ask not to ignore it for, let's say, a couple of hours, and then wait for a couple of hours for to check that if this can if you see the user load gone. If you think that it's an EMEA customer and they'll be working full time and they'll be only unavailable after 6 p.m., then transfer all the knowledge to Shiva or Shobhit and tell them that this is a case and please handle this one. Please restart this and or please handle this alert.
Okay.
Okay, and inform NOC.
Okay. Sure.
Once they'll be done, they'll be telling NOC that this is done. But usually, what happens? I have been seeing so far that we are not seeing. Strangely, we are not seeing this issue with London customers, but only Austin customers.
Yeah.
But it might just be a matter of chance. There is a possibility that we might see issues with this with our time zone customers as well.
Okay. Okay.
I think I'll have to ask individually. So I started with Shilpa. Vishal, any question?
No, Preeti, once you start working on it, I'm sure I will come up with many more.
Absolutely. Muthu, Deepa, any question? I'm glad that you joined this session because though you're working for DC Move, but these knowledge would also help you when you configure the servers as well. Because now going forward, when you take the TAR, so in order to reduce your TAR generation time, you can get rid of these backup folders and all, and you can start using TARs and all.
Absolutely. This session was useful, Preeti. I don't have any specific questions, but as Vishal said, when we start working, we might have some issues, so that we will come back to you.
Absolutely great. Thanks. So yes, as I said, please start working on alerts from now onwards. And I just wanted to take the opportunity at the end of this session to thank each one of you because yes, we do receive complaints at times and they have their own reasons. We have resource constraints, unavailability at times, and we have our own limitations. I know that we all are occupied with our work, but there are times when we receive appreciations as well. And yesterday was a very tough day because we had this problem with ALU. And this was more embarrassing because yesterday ALU customer, the ALU director, Henry, he had lots of accolades for SAS and a lot of appreciation. And the moment we received appreciation and acknowledged it, ALU had a lot of issues, and it was 911. I mean, the appreciation mail was going on, and then, I mean, you understand what I'm saying. So that was real difficult situation. I'm glad it's restored. Everything is working well. But guys, please note, I have been saying this to everyone every time that if you have any question or any confusion in applying any solution, please get in touch with me. The problem, I hope that by now everybody understands that, see, customer would request you to run something, run this script. Okay? Make sure you mention that have you verified this in dev and test? And also make your own sensible decision. If the change is something which is changing their data, that is update KCRT request details, that is fine. If there is some custom procedure function, and if they have tested, please verify if they have tested it. But if there is a request which you think, because we are PPM experts, if there is a request which you think is going to impact PPM functionality, push back. Get in touch with me or TSC and ask that is it okay to do this. Yesterday was a mess because they messed up. We know that. I had earlier sessions, a lot of earlier sessions, not one but multiple, and we have a document as well. I'm not sure if you guys were part of those sessions or not, but we had a session that we cannot change currencies while customer is using the instance, and that to financial data. If customer is using the instance but they are not using financial data, then we can possibly change the currency. But that too after proper analysis. But if there is a new customer and the customer is not yet using the server, the server is still with us and they have euro currency. So we can change the currency to USD and then hand over the instance to customer. But if the customer is already using the instance and they want this currency to be changed, no, it's a complete no. You cannot do that.
So is it that they never tested it in non-prod instance and they directly do it in prod?
See, there are two things. First is they claim that they tested it in dev and test, and issue never occurred for dev and test. But we cannot play a blame game here because first thing, we know that customer when they implement anything in dev and test, they do not do thorough validation. And moreover, they are very limited heads to do the validation. So all the issues are not captured. Second is, we being PPM experts, we are not only executors here. We are not just here to just control run or just next. We are here to analyze. That is the reason they do not have access to prod, because we are here to analyze if this is approved for prod or not. Since we understand that currency change is not approved, we should not have proceeded with the change.
Yes.
So it messed up their financial data. Definitely they lost they lost one business day and they lost one business day data because the restore was done for day before yesterday's data. So it definitely had a huge impact from business point of view. So please, going forward, any change which you perform for production.
So is it that we rolled back to the previous version?
No, we didn't roll back to previous version. We have a nightly backup for production. We keep nightly backups. So we had rolled to previous backup.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the reason I said that they lost one business day, which was yesterday, because the whole day was occupied in doing this, so that they couldn't work. And they lost one business day data as well. That is previous day, because we restored it from earlier day's data.
Yeah.
So it had definitely huge impact. So any change which you perform, make a sensible decision. If you have any confusion, you can reach out to anyone which you feel that can give or if you have any, can reach out to TSCs and find out is it okay to do this. And that's the reason I'm saying that mark TSC in every case, so that the moment you receive case, tomorrow if something goes wrong, you can say that, see, I marked you in CC, and the reason I marked you was because I wanted. Though even at that point of time, we will not be here to play blame game, but the intent is to reduce such issues, right? Okay, great. We already had 1 hour session. If you need any additional session with respect to anything, I think we already had the site scope session few days back for Deepa and Muthu. For others, I'm sure that you are already using the application Sitescope. For Sitescope, do not update your Java version. Either disable or enable the ActiveX control so that you receive those pop-up message saying that block Java or install now or run later, such messages so that you can make your Sitescope work. But do not update your Java if your workbench is working in your current client machine. Okay. Deepa and Muthu, thank you so much for being available an hour in advance and attending this session. And for others, thanks. Chalo, have a nice day and let me know if you need anything.
Thanks, Preeti. Thanks, Preeti.